So, intro to walls is very similar to floors. You just go to architecture, go to wall. Right now, we can pick kind of any wall. When you're designing, especially if you're starting from scratch, you know, I would always pick kind of sizes that are similar to this mass that you're going to end up thinking you're going to want. So a thick wall, obviously you want to go with 12 inches or more, and a thin wall then go down to this like 5 inches. So you kind of already build into the knowledge of the design at least its thickness, even if you don't know what material you're going to use, whether that'll be brick or concrete or something that has some weight. Alright, so we'll just grab one of them. There's several ways that you can do this. Let's say that you have a grid. I'm just going to create a real quick grid. And you know you're going to kind of build this wrapped around kind of that idea. Then more than likely, as you're going to build your wall, you're going to want it to be located wall center line. So let's just see what that looks like. So when I click, you can see that it's actually building the wall based on the center line of the points that I'm clicking on. So that's kind of one way that you might go about it. And so depending on where your default is, it might be on exterior face or interior face, but going to this wall center line will make it a lot easier if that is how you're referencing your build. Okay? So other ways that you might need to build would be if you have some kind of, say, reference plan. So maybe I've went to insert and I have a drawing file that I just brought in, and roughly it looks like this. So in that case, let's just build a wall on that. So more than likely, I mean, if I was to kind of be a little bit more accurate with the drawing, let's just imagine that it had kind of lines built out to give us thickness. So what do I do in that case, right? Well, you have to imagine that I'll use the trim tool to kind of get these things. The trim tool is a great tool. It allows you to basically trim and or extend lines. So say right here, I need that to extend to that. So just using the trim tool, it actually does it, or it removes if I use it like that. So all right, back to the trim tool. You're going to use that a lot. That's right here, trim and extend. They call it trim extend. So TR. It's a great tool. All right. So let's say we have something like this. So back to walls, I'm grabbing that. Centerline really doesn't work very well for me because obviously I don't want the wall there. I want it to go instead of this. So you have to play around a little bit. I always have to kind of refresh my memory. So what do we have? Finished face exterior, or you have core face exterior. The difference between these are that when we end up customizing these walls, we're going to have a core, which is basically the structure of the wall, and then we're going to add a finish outside of the core, which might be siding, it might be a veneer of some sort. And so depending on how you're designing, some people always, because the core is the first thing built, they always dimension to the core and they always reference the core. Other designers will be, well, the finish the finish face is the absolutely most important face, so I'm going to always do that. It's always going to be finished face. So that's the difference between these things. I'm just going to default to finished face, and I have no idea I forget what offset I had, but maybe it's 12 inches. So essentially you're going to start building. So you can see as I move down, my finish, it has no way of knowing what's outside and what's inside, so it's just kind of guessing. And the way it works is that when you're going left, right, the exterior will be on the top. When you're going down, the exterior will be on the left. So you just have to get used to how the tool thinks. It'll be consistent. The only question is whether you can be consistent. So I'm going clockwise, and that seems to be going really well. And voila, that's like really easy, right? The other way that you can do this, if you have a plan such as you've imported or you've drawn, is that I can go with wall, and then I can select pick lines, and it will build a wall. Now you can see that it's creating this dashed line that's kind of telling me where the wall is going to be created according to what line I've selected. And you can see that it can float between the two, just I have to kind of get my mouse position in the right place. So that's the kind of the other way. And so let's say that this is what I recommend. Let's say you have a design. Let's get rid of one of these walls. You have a design, and please don't fault me on the bad design choices that I'm about to make. But you have a design that has a very specific, customized kind of look. This wall pick line, oh, okay, well, there you go. That would have been a great thing if it had let me do it. So it doesn't like splines. So, I guess that's a lesson learned. I'll go into other ways that you might do that, not in this video. This is an intro video that you might deal with something that is that customized. All right, so that's it. That's intro to walls. Again, if they're supposed to be thin, make them thin. So all that would similarly work for a thin thin wall. You can see that clearly in your first initial design process. Having a hierarchy is really smart, specifically if there's a kind of a design intent.